Hey, we're on time today, guys. Appreciate you for being here. Please give it a thumbs up on your way in. God bless you for tuning in today. If you're new, subscribe, hit that bell notification. We're going to get right into it. First and foremost, I want to address no. We'll start with the good news. We're going to start with good news because that's what I said I'm going to do. And we got good news out of Seattle. Seattle police fired over the vaccine mandate are feeding the homeless and poor. This was yesterday. So you see this video here in Seattle where the fired police officers, people that lost their job, people that were serving their community, in wake of them losing their livelihoods, their salary, they went out and served the community. So I think that's a good story. It's a feel-good story. And God will take care of his people. People that stand for something and they believe in freedom and their bodily autonomy, just because they're forced out of their livelihood, their situation that kept their family safe and put food on the table, just because they're forced out doesn't mean that there won't be an opportunity opening somewhere else. So I love this story. I hope we see more of it. I really want to focus as much attention as I can on the positives that are happening, the people coming together from all walks of life. You see it happening in New York City. I see even people that are like Black Lives Matter, police, unions. You got all kind of workers, different types of groups coming together to push back on those mandates. And I think that's what brings people together, on top of, the Let's Go Brandon chant. That's unifying the country in many ways, believe it or not. So good story out of Seattle. Love to see it. Hope it continues. Now, what I wanted to get to is I want to address the person in the comments that said that the photo of this thumbnail, or the thumbnail in this stream, is Photoshop and they think it's fake. Okay, first and foremost, this is not the first story that I've reported on where a student had a face mask taped on. Actually, back in September, a teacher was accused of taping a face mask on a student. The teacher pulled him up in front of the classroom and taped the mask across his face. The mom called for the student, or the substitute teacher, to resign. That was picked up by local news. I think that was in Phoenix or somewhere. And I didn't do a follow-up on it to see what happened with the teacher, but that was a thing that happened. That was real, okay? So it should come as no surprise that it happened again in Colorado. And we got local news stories. Like, I'm not going to just sit here and push some fake story. If it is, I would issue a retraction, okay? But you got CBS Denver reporting on it, as well as some newscast way out in North Carolina. So you can say it's photoshopped or you think it's suspect, but personally, I don't think it is. It looks real. So here's the news story on it.
Between Friday and Monday morning, we received many other allegations, and we actually didn't receive them. They just started floating all over social media.
The district says what started as only one parent coming forward to the district saying that her 6th grade daughter's mask was taped to her face turned into a social media frenzy. Now D20 leaders are investigating to see what's true and what's not.
Because of social media, we now have so many other voices in the mix that may not have been involved. And so now there's misinformation that's mingled in with the actual facts.
A second parent whose daughter is in the same class also says the taping happened.
The 2 male teachers in her pod were wearing the blue masking tape, like wristbands or like bracelets, around all day. Her mask would fall down, and they got on her about that and gave her multiple pieces of tape to cover her face.
She says her daughter told her multiple kids in her class have experienced the same thing.
Very frustrating, and it's hard enough for the kids to live in the world that it is right now, and it's just making it worse.
The district is asking for patience during the investigation, and they also have a message going forward.
It's for those families within the district that might not know what's going on, before they spread information, that they let us do our investigation so we can get the facts out about something like this.
Okay, so these people are crazy. They're psychotic. I've reported on stories where a girl at a hospital had to put a plastic bag over her head as she went from the waiting room to the room that she was going to be in. And then the hospital, because the news came out, there was a local news outlet that reported on it. The hospital came out and said, yeah, this is our standard operating procedure. This is our protocol. We put plastic bags over the faces of patients as we transport them through the hospital. These mandates, these restrictions, they're not about health. They're about control. They're about humiliation. They're about dominance. And this, I would be furious if I were this kid's parent. And it's happening across multiple schools, multiple students experiencing this. So it's not some far-fetched thing that, you see a picture of a girl with actually sending it to her mom. Hey, look, I got tape on my face. Not a Photoshop, not fake. This is actually happening. It's real. Schools are being exposed. There's never been a better time to homeschool your children. I think that what we're at right now is a fork in the road. People can try to, fix the public school system or homeschool, right? Like, this is a pivotal point right now in this fight, this battle that we're in, because they're controlling kids, they're indoctrinating kids, they're sexualizing kids, they're polluting their minds with dangerous indoctrination and propaganda. And enough is enough. That's why I love to see parents pushing back school board meetings. You see a lot more people coming out to those because they're tired of it. And these are crazy, crazy restrictions that are not about health. They do not care about your child's health. They're trying to humiliate them, make it harder for them to breathe, put tape on their face. Who does that? What school should be doing? Like, no school should be doing this. No teacher should be overriding their parents. I tell you what, let a story like that come out in Florida and you'll see results. Whereas this happened in Colorado. This is Colorado Springs. The other one was in Arizona. I don't know if the governor issued any statements. Colorado, probably not, because I think they have a Democrat governor. Doug Ducey, he's a Republican in Arizona, but he's a rhino. But I'm saying, who's going to stand up for these children? The parents can only do so much. The parents will go and report it, and the school's like, please be patient while we investigate this. When in reality, the school probably knew about it all along. Just like the school in California knew about the communist teacher with Mao on his wall and the Antifa flag. It's not until they get exposed that they're like, please be patient. We're going to do an investigation here. I think that teacher should be fired and brought up on charges for child abuse. Moving on, you got a student that caught their teacher in real time, recorded them pushing critical race theory. Check this out. If it'll load. Come on. I may have to refresh the page. This is weird. Okay. I'm trying to play this video and apparently my internet's not working. I don't know, guys. Hold on. Let me refresh it. Let's see if this works. Okay. All right. We got it. Here we go.
Some people might call it racist. There's actually 3 categories. If you've read the book Stamped, you'll hear that there's 3 areas. There's anti-right, there's anti-racist, which is a person who works to end racism, an activist, someone who is active. And that's what I was trying to be. I was reading books, I was going to rallies, I was trying to be in that group. Then there's the opposite, which is someone who is racist, who discriminates against people of a certain group and that sort of thing. But then there's a middle group. A middle group is what most people are. Most people don't actively work to end racism, and most people don't work to be in the racist group. So most people are in that middle group called an assimilationist. An assimilationist doesn't actively work to end it and doesn't work to be in the racist group. So, and if you read the Stamped book, there's one for young adults. Your age, might be a little heavy, but middle school or high school age would be the Stamped for kids. And He was part of the co-author for the kids.
Yeah, talk about this.
So
Now, that's just a clip that's like 1 minute and 33 seconds. I don't know if that's the end of it, but I was looking for the full length clip of this so I could hear what else the teacher was saying. But if you couldn't make out what she was saying, said there's 3 groups of people. There are racists, and then there are anti-racists, which are activists, and then there's a big chunk of people in the middle who are just neutral. They just don't, judge people by the color of their skin. She calls them assimilationists, which means that they're just racist. And so that means we have to convert you from being somebody who judges people by the content of their character to somebody who actively fights against racists. We have to turn you into an activist, essentially. See, they're teaching this ideology. And if you couldn't tell from the video, the student looks like a black kid. So that's good to see even a black kid pushing back against this. You've seen black parents standing up against the CRT evil. You see people are taking action to expose it and root it out. Politicians are taking a stance against it. It's a good thing to see this kind of stuff getting exposed. To hear a teacher tell a class of students, and I wish we could see what the demographics were in the class, to see if it was a diverse crowd, if it's mostly white, if it's mostly black. It's so wicked. It's so wrong to teach kids that they need to be actively fighting against racism, what does that even mean? Fighting racism. You need to be an activist, and teaching them to see skin color, telling them that their default setting, which is not judging people, just their natural occurrence, natural way of being, not judging people by the color of their skin, judge the person based on who they are on the inside, what they bring to the table, what they offer, are they a good person or not? They're saying that that's assimilationist. You're just assimilating into it. The fact that you're just a bystander, that just means that you're secretly racist. So props to this student for taking action and recording this teacher. And we'll see what comes of it, because school boards, there's a big push by the left to make this the commonplace doctrine in schools. They want critical race theory to be the standard. So I don't know what action can really be taken other than school board meetings and parents showing up, homeschooling their kids. You have to take the money out of the school. That's essentially what it is. These are taxpayer funded indoctrination camps now. So this is Franklin Woods Intermediate School. I have no idea where that is. I didn't look it up to see what state it's in and what their policy is, if they're actually pushing CRT, or if that's the standard, or if this teacher took it upon herself to be an activist and just pushed it. But props to this student for pushing this teacher to the max right here. I think that hopefully something comes out of it. I really hope to see. That's the thing, like with the Project Veritas exposés, it's good to see it come out. I love to see that information exposed, but I'm ready to see more results. It's good to see some teachers getting fired, but teachers need to be brought up on charges if they are abusing students by taping their masks on their face, or, I don't necessarily think you can charge them for CRT, but you can run them out of their industry. They should not be able to teach or be in a position of authority and influence over children. It's just child abuse, one way or the other. Moving on, Domino's CEO says U.S. needs more immigration to address nationwide worker shortages. Sounds like somebody's trying to put their corporate interests first. Profit must be slipping. Stock prices down. And you can't get more America last than lobbying for replacement migration. So this CEO, Rich Allison, said it's a challenge in the U.S. with minimum population growth organically. We need immigration in our industry to continue to have enough team members. He added, as I travel around the country and talk to our franchises, so many of whom followed that immigration path, it's inspiring. It truly is. He says we literally have to start thinking about immigration policy that involves taking people in. So replacing you, replacement migration. And I wonder if he's covering for maybe a vaccine mandate. Domino's says U.S. orders decline in third quarter due to impact of staffing shortages. Now, we know that there's staffing shortages all across all industries in the private sector ever since Biden's mandate that all federal workers need to be vaccinated, and businesses with 100 or more employees, which would be Domino's, has to require vaccines. I wonder if that's what he's referring to. I wonder if that's it, because we know it could be a cover up, just like Southwest tried to cover it up and then eventually came clean. Right? So, Domino's, are you trying to cover this up? Or are you trying to scapegoat your failures by saying that, yeah, it's the population decline? Or maybe, just maybe, you're using this as an opportunity to lobby for low-skilled workers to replace the American workforce. I looked on Indeed, and their minimum wage, or their what they pay at Domino's, is like $15 an hour for a delivery driver. That's not bad. But I mean, why pay that much when you could just bring in people from the third world and have them work for much less because they have a lower standard of living? That's what it could be there. And I'm just curious how this CEO spends his money in Congress. What PACs does he donate to? Is he donating and supporting politicians that are for open borders and for this UN replacement migration situation? I'm curious about that. And of course, I mean, if you're talking about population decline, which he's correct in saying that the population is declining in the US. I mean, isn't the world overpopulated? That's what Bill Gates said. They think there are too many people on Earth. And I mean, of course, you're going to have a population decline. There's a lot of factors that go into it. Of course, I can't pretend like there's only one or two things. It's a very nuanced topic. You have people having kids later in life. You have people who are reluctant to reproduce when you force them into economic hardship, like 2020. People aren't going to want to have kids. And then, of course, when you promote abortion as healthcare, you're going to have less children. When you are soft on crime, you're going to have more murders. And so, therefore, if people are having less children and more people are dying at a rapid rate, then you don't have replacement rate in your, you'll have a declining birth rate, essentially. If it's below replacement rate, then you're going to have a shortage of workers. But I'm just curious if it has anything to do with a vaccine mandate. I looked for it, guys. I couldn't find anything to see if Domino's has a vaccine mandate or not, but that's probably what this staffing shortage is about. But hey, yeah, let's just import the third world. Let's just replace American citizens and, let's follow the United Nations plan to offset population decline and population aging resulting from lower fertility and mortality rates. This is from the UN's website. And as I've said many times before, they promote it in Western countries. That's where they're promoting abortion the most. That's where they are pretty much saying you shouldn't have any kids, because climate change. If you have kids, the climate, will just have increased storms and stronger storms. So, yeah. Not America first for the CEO of Domino's. Yeah, boycott that pizza, man. Here's a story you guys have been wanting me to talk about, so I'm going to cover it. TikTok threatens to censor Let's Go Brandon song for harassment and bullying. Now, people have said, Mike, you need to play that song. Play it, please. I'm not going to play it for a couple of reasons. Number one, the last time that I played a song, I got a channel strike. So if you don't want me to get a channel strike, don't pressure me to play the song. You can just go search for it. Let's Go Brandon. The artist is Loza, Loza Alexander. Just search Loza, or just better yet, just search Let's Go Brandon. It's the top video. I believe Forgiato Blow has one of these too. But nonetheless, TikTok wants to censor this song. which has climbed the charts. It's #1 on iTunes, at least it was a couple days ago. This has taken the nation by storm. They hate this Let's Go Brandon thing. I showed you guys last week after the Trump rally, there was an article written about me talking to people in the line and getting them to chant "Let's Go Brandon," which they were already chanting before. They're so panicked. They hate this because it's the perfect euphemism for what people really feel about Joe Biden. Now the cat's out of the bag. I don't know why it took them so long. Here's an article from yesterday. Let's go, Brandon. What does it mean? Like, this is like 3 weeks old already, and they're just now like trying to get to the bottom of it. Of what does this "Let's go, Brandon" mean? So they're pretty upset. They're frustrated. That's what happens when you don't control. You don't have real influence in culture. This is a cultural movement, cultural phenomenon. It's an inside joke. If you know, you know. So that's why they have to get on top of it. That's why TikTok has to investigate it for harassment and hate speech, which is another reason why I can't play the video, because if social media sees it as harassment and hate speech, then I'm vulnerable for a channel strike again. They gave me a channel strike for reporting on Ghislaine Maxwell getting arrested last year. I'm not even kidding. It took a year for YouTube to realize that is harassment and bullying, and you get a channel strike. So they found a video from last year, gave me a channel strike this year for it. So if they identify this song, "Let's Go Brandon," as harassment and hate speech, as ridiculous as that sounds, then I'm going to avoid playing it. But it's hilarious. The message from TikTok says that the song is being investigated for content violation, harassment, and bullying. It's just making fun of the president. You're not allowed to make fun of the president, but this is not a fascist dictatorship at all. Ridiculous. So, this guy, I love the song. The song is great. Some people wanted me to give it a review, but I mean, it's a very simple song. There's not much to it. It's just "Let's Go Brandon." And remember, they created this monster. This is on them. They're the ones who, the newscaster, whoever that woman was, she did this. So you can't unfire this gun. Sorry. It's now gone global. It's climbing the charts on iTunes. They're trying to censor it in Canada, even though I saw a news report saying that's not true. It wouldn't shock me if it was true. "Let's Go Brandon" is now considered hate speech. So they're going to try to quell that. I guess you got to spell Brandon differently now. Like, there's not a way around it. But this is something that you love to see. See, the left has no influence in culture, which is why they acknowledge that their late night comedy shows aren't funny. People are tuning out of the Oscars and the Emmys and all of these elitist events where they gather and celebrate their own wealth, pat themselves on the back, virtue signal, and then wag their fingers in your face for how evil you are. Meanwhile, you got this organic grassroots movement, this uprising of talented rap artists, people with memes. That stuff is powerful. And they hate it. So yeah, TikTok is investigating this because it is harassment and bullying to repeat words that were said during a NASCAR event. Unbelievable. At the same time, it's believable because nothing is impossible in clown world. Now, here's Charles Barkley saying a dumb thing.
Your buddy over here is grimacing. Chuck?
First of all, you don't get the vaccine for yourself. You get it for other people.
No, I'm not saying.
Hold on, brother. You said your piece.
No, I didn't say you do.
I got vaccinated. I can't wait to get the booster. You don't get vaccinated just for yourself. Like Adam said, you get vaccinated for your family first. You get vaccinated for your teammates second, things like that. That's what bothers me about this whole thing. I think everybody should get vaccinated. And let me tell you something. I really am proud of the Nets for putting their foot down, for saying, no, we're not going to deal with this half on, half off. The only thing that bugged me, he's still going to make $17 million sitting at home. I wish they could find a way. If he wants to go on this thing, like, people say he's like Ali. First of all, don't ever compare anybody to Ali. Ali went 3 years without boxing. He was the highest paid athlete in the world. This guy gonna make $17 million for sitting at home. But to every person out there, you don't get vaccinated just for yourself.
Charles Barkley, man, what can you say about this guy? This is just reeks of ignorance. So ignorant. And it's sad because sometimes he does have he drops truth bombs like he did during March Madness, right? When he talked about how the media and politicians play us against each other based on race. I put that video on YouTube. It got like 500,000 views. And then he turns around and says this: you don't get vaccinated for yourself. You do it for other people. He just becomes the latest big pharmaceutical sales rep. And this is, if you're wondering what he's referring to, he's talking about Kyrie Irving of the Brooklyn Nets, who is suspended because he refuses to be forced to get a vaccine. Of course, if you refuse a mandate, if you refuse somebody forcing you to do something, it's because you're anti that thing they're forcing you to do. Of course, that's the way that they frame it. And so he's upset that Kyrie Irving is still going to make money in spite of him being suspended. But what he leaves out is how inconsistent and non-scientific the mandates are in the NBA. There's a player by the name of Bradley Beal who is unvaccinated, spoke out against the mandates, that is going to be able to play in the same stadium that Kyrie Irving plays in. So they're unvaccinated players that get to play all season long, and they don't have to abide by whatever state they're playing in, their mandates or their orders. But Kyrie Irving, because he plays for the Brooklyn Nets in New York, his team is suspending him, so he can't play. But if you think about what Kyrie Irving is doing, and he's talked about this actually. Where is it at? I have it somewhere in here. I might have closed it out. It's actually just a statement from, here it is. It's a statement from somebody who's close to Kyrie Irving. The reason why he is sitting this season out and possibly going to retire. Multiple sources with direct knowledge of Irving's decision have told The Athletic that Irving is not anti-vaccine and that his stance is that he is upset that people are losing their jobs due to vaccine mandates. It's a stance that Irving has explained to close teammates. To him, this is about a grander fight than the one on the court. Irving is challenging a perceived control of society and people's livelihood, according to the source with knowledge of Irving's mindset. So that to me is really powerful. It shows that he's willing to stand for something and sacrifice his job, which obviously he's a multimillionaire. He's not really sacrificing much if he's still going to make $17 million, which really upsets Charles Barkley. But he's taken a stand for people who are less fortunate than him. He's like, fine, I'll just sit out. I'll retire. And I respect that. Now's the time to come together, regardless of how much somebody makes, or if they're in Hollywood, if they're a rapper, if they're an athlete, maybe they're even pro BLM or some other thing. What we're talking about here is medical freedom and liberty. If that doesn't bring people together, nothing will. If we can't all stand together and see how wrong that this is, then we'll be forever divided. So I think that this is a good thing. And if you contrast Kyrie Irving's stance with Colin Kaepernick's kneel, which everybody was on board with that. Oh, Colin Kaepernick, he's being ostracized by the NFL. He's been blackballed. When his taking a knee was for a false narrative that was about dividing people. See, that's the inversion of reality. That's what got promoted in the media. But now everyone in the media is just dragging Kyrie Irving. He's the scum of the earth to them now because he is powerful, influential, and he has taken a public stance against mandates. So I think it's great. I hope to see more of it. Charles Barkley is complete moron. This is a moronic statement. You do not get vaccinated for other people. You get it for yourself, period. And it should be a choice, period. There's no debate on that. Where there is risk, there must be choice. And that people are lashing out. I feel like he's just getting paid to say this, to lash out at your frustration over somebody who doesn't want to be forced to take medicine that they don't want. Just unbelievable. But that's Chuck for you. You never know what you're going to get. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. This one was really bad. Hating on Kyrie Irving. Now, this is interesting. I don't know if anybody remembers this. That he's like, don't compare him to Muhammad Ali. Here's Muhammad Ali from, I don't know when this was. This seems like this might be in the 80s, maybe even 70s. I don't know. Promoting mandatory medicine for kids.
September, because that's the law. The law says if your kids don't have their shots for dangerous diseases like mumps, measles, and polio, they aren't getting into school. The law also says they must go to school. So you have no choice. Get your kids their shots. Call 349-2664 to get free shots now. Remember, no shots, no school. It's the law.
That's crazy.
September.
I don't remember this. This had to be before my time. But using a commercial, using an influential athlete, the greatest of his era, Muhammad Ali, to urge parents to get their kids vaccinated. I mean, this is wild. But I guess whoever posted this, I don't know what they're trying to say. That look, it's always been mandatory. We've always had this big cultural push. No. You've never had people lose their jobs over it. People be denied service. Complete discrimination, segregation, public shaming. You've never had this before. This is new. This is unprecedented. You've never had polarizing medicine, politicized medicine, people using it as leverage, people using it to control you. That's what's happening right now. It's about obedience. It's not about health and safety. If it was, they wouldn't be taping face masks on kids. They wouldn't be bagging kids over the head. They wouldn't be putting plastic bags over their head in hospitals. They wouldn't be falsely reporting numbers. But I don't want to get on a tangent here. I'm just saying what Kyrie Irving is doing right now is huge. It's huge. And we'll see where it goes. We'll see. You've got corporations standing up. You saw Delta Airlines refuse the mandate. Southwest Airlines refusing the mandate. And now InNOut Burger refusing the mandates. You know, InNOut, I love it. Every time I go out to Cali or Arizona or Vegas, I got to get the InNOut. We just don't have it in Florida. I'm sorry, but maybe that should change. Maybe InNOut should bring their chain to Florida where freedom exists. There is no mandate here. You can operate as you wish. You don't have to discriminate. You don't have to be the vaccine police. Here's a statement from InNOut. We refuse to become the vaccination police for any government. InNOut's chief legal and business officer, Arnie Winsinger, said in a statement, it is unreasonable, invasive, and unsafe to force our restaurant associates to segregate customers. And this comes on the heels of San Francisco forcing them to close or threatening them that they have to close unless they ask every customer to show their papers. So good for InNOut. Here's the news story. We'll play the news story.
Only InNOut Burger is in a fight with health officials over COVID vaccine checks. Good evening, I'm Elizabeth Cook.
And I'm Brian Hackney. San Francisco briefly shut down the InNOut restaurant for not following the rules. KPXY's Betty Yu tells us about the big burger battle. Betty.
Brian, right now, this Fisherman's Wharf InNOut location is open, but only for to-go orders. Take a look at that sign on the door. It says indoor dining is unavailable at this time, and that's because the city's Department of Public Health said InNOut is not complying with its health order to check for proof of vaccination from customers. It was not denying entry to those without proper documentation. Now, the city confirmed it closed this location temporarily last Thursday. InNOut said that while it posted signage to display local health requirements, it would not comply with what it called the requirement to act as the vaccination police.
I have no problem with the man.
No, before we get to what these people say, because you already know what they're going to say, this is San Francisco. So InNOut, in response, instead of them following through with these ridiculous orders where they would effectively discriminate against some of their customers and put themselves at risk, because I mean, you're talking about San Francisco. There's a lot of crazies walking around. You never know. Somebody might get mad and start knifing you if you ask them for their papers. You never know. So they're just foregoing all of that and saying, fine, nobody can dine in. That way we're not discriminating. Everybody's got to come and get their food to go. You can't come and dine in, instead of them denying people service and having to check your papers at the door. So good for them, because they're able to stay operational, and it's a workaround, at least in the short term, for the mandate. But of course, let's hear what the pro-vaxxers have to say.
Dates, and I think that the city says enforce them. You have to enforce them. It's part of doing business in the city. You got to follow their rules.
I think that's a little negligent on their part. A lot of people.
InNOuts, to be clear.
Yeah, InNOut.
So they're mad. They're like, why won't they just follow the mandate? Just follow the order. See, these are the people that you know where they would have been at back in Germany, what side they would have been on. It's just the law. Just follow the law. So, I mean, InNOut, based out of California, it might be time to relocate. At the very least, open up a location in Florida. I think it would do pretty well. Very good restaurant, very good food. And it feels good to see a company based out of California actually standing up and saying, no, we're not going to discriminate. We're not going to enforce these mandates. And it's not our job to do this. So let us operate. See, this is government coercion. This is what happens in authoritarian fascist countries. Remember, guys, Trump was the fascist. Trump was the fascist. Never forget that Trump was the fascist, as they force businesses to discriminate based on medical procedures. Yep. That's where we are. That's where we are. Moving on to the Pope here. The Pope demands that Silicon Valley censor speech in the name of God. Pope Francis made remarks during a world meeting on popular movements, which is like a shadowy government that's created to promote like social justice and, you know, fight racism and all that. This is, you remember, guys, this is the woke Pope, the wokest we've seen. So his statement is, in the name of God, I ask the technology giants to stop exploiting human weakness, people's vulnerability for the sake of profits without caring about the spread of hate speech, grooming, fake news, conspiracy theories, and political manipulation. Says the guy that is promoting a mark of the beast like green pass that you have to show at the Vatican. A pope that promotes LGBT, which that's not in the Bible. And now he's clamoring for censorship, probably because he doesn't want people criticizing him. That's what I'm wondering. And this is the same pope that was in support of caravans, replacement migration. I mean, you could go on and on and on. Catholic Church is fallen. So yeah, woke Pope over here saying, in the name of God, censorship. Blasphemous. Blasphemous Pope he is. Yeah, Vatican closes its doors to those without a green pass. Make it make sense, Mr. Pope. Moving along, speaking of like weird stuff in clown world, this is Kanye West right here. Let's see if I could zoom in here. Yeah, Kanye West was seen walking through New York City with a white or Caucasian mask on his face. It's like a complete mask. I mean, I get it. He's a celebrity. He's a rich guy. He doesn't want to be seen out in public or recognized because people just swarm him. But this is a little extreme, Kanye. And it looks kind of creepy. And, I mean, never mind the fact that this is racism, whiteface. Just kidding. But never mind that. Where's his COVID face mask? Come on, Kanye. You got to follow the protocol. You got to follow the mandates. This is New York City, where people are wearing their masks outdoors. Where's Kanye's mask? That's what I'm wondering. I think he's dealing with something right now. Kanye's going through some kind of spiritual battle, internal battle. Because who does this? This is so weird. I just don't get it, man. But that's where we are. Kanye dressed up in a Caucasian full face mask, but no COVID mask. Now, this is the last thing I'm going to cover, and then I'll get to the comments. I don't know if anybody saw the video I posted earlier about Pfizer and how they control the media. Now you know who funds the media. It's Pfizer.
Pfizer, CBS Health Watch, sponsored by Pfizer. Anderson Cooper 360. Brought to you by Pfizer.
ABC News Nightline. Brought to you by Pfizer. Making a difference. Brought to you by Pfizer.
CNN Tonight. Brought to you by Pfizer. Early Start. Brought to you by Pfizer. Friday night on Aaron Burnett Out Front. Brought to you by Pfizer. This Week with George Stephanopoulos is brought to you by Pfizer.
This weather report brought to you by Pfizer.
Today's countdown to the royal wedding is brought to you by Pfizer.
And now a CBS Sports Update brought to you by Pfizer.
Meet the Press data download brought to you by Pfizer.
This portion of CBS This Morning sponsored by Pfizer. On how to find the hidden sugars in the American family diet. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Bill Gates' advice on how to combat mistrust in science at 60minutesovertime.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Wow. Are you putting it together yet? Is it making sense? Do you wonder who brought you all those videos, all the newscasts, all the propaganda that you've ingested over the years? It's Pfizer. It's Big Pharma. Now, if you were to compile an equivalent of that in politicians funded by Pfizer, how many people would say they are funded by Pfizer? This politician's public statement on why you should get vaccinated was brought to you by Pfizer. Big Pharma runs the world right now in conjunction with other, obviously, foundations, George Soros, all the, Rockefeller, UN. There's a lot of people in there working collectively to issue world government and, vaccinate the planet that is overpopulated, apparently, according to Bill Gates, the country's largest private farmland owner. So don't be surprised when these food shortages kick in. I'm just saying, get your emergency supplies now. If only I had a sponsor for that. Brought to you by My Patriot Supply or something like that. I don't know. But this is where everything is right now. All the propaganda, all of the headlines, the big push. You know who funds it now. I don't know who put this video together. I don't know how I missed the last one where they talk about 60 Minutes and Bill Gates, how to combat people who don't trust science, his science. Of all people, they got to use Bill Gates, of course. The guy with the eugenicist background. I don't even want to get into it, guys. I could spend another hour just get into it. But you guys, if you watch me regularly, you know I cover all of this stuff. All these things are tied together. Spiritual warfare, war for your body, war for your mind, war on your livelihood, war on the family, war on your children, war on your financial well-being. That's what's happening in real time. So let's get to some chats here, and then I'll go ahead and wrap it up. Who paid the largest criminal fine in U.S. history? Pfizer. Says a lot, doesn't it? Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, so Pfizer and whoever else, it kind of goes to the highest bidder. Right now, it's Pfizer. Their dollar is dying with their powers. Buy silver. Yeah, I'm all about that. I'm all about it. I mean, a lot of people are jumping on the cryptocurrency bandwagon. I'm not there, at least not yet. Not yet. Nope. because I feel like they're it's all tied to like the internet and stuff. Like it's still digital. I mean, you can't. I don't know. Silver, precious metals. That's where it's at. Good, Mike. Get a few ounces. Maybe you can send me information on where I can get it from. Silver, gold, just whatever else. Tangible resources. Grow your own food. Get a decent, really good water filtration system for your house. You know, it's illegal to collect rainwater in my home state, Colorado, unless that changed. Find a way to live off the land. Find a way to just be prepared. But of course, don't post about it on social media because that's considered extremism. If you're too prepared, you might end up on some watch list. Self-preservation is dangerous far-right extremism. This is an act of Luciferian assignment. The husband of Kate Spade did the same thing. Public shaming. Yeah, they're making it illegal to drink God's water. Yeah. Illegal to, of course, they have to undermine religion because if you seek a higher source for guidance and direction, that means you're not listening to the state. So that's a no-no. So that's why you saw churches shut down last year. That's why they're so hostile towards Christians. They're not hostile towards Muslims. You notice that. Christianity is the only religion that is under constant assault from politicians. They hate Christianity. They mock Christianity. They mock Christians. They persecute Christians, not just here. They do it across the country, across the world. Thank you, California Screaming, for the super chat, saying keep up the good work, friend. Thank you so much. This helps keep a roof over my family's head. Between this and RSBN, I've been blessed for this to be my full-time job, even though it kind of fluctuates and, there's a lot of volatility as I've only ever been a W-2 employee. You guys remember 2-3 years ago, I used to make videos and live streams in my work van. And now I'm blessed to have this platform. And even though it hasn't grown to where I want it to be, I still have the faith that I'm reaching people and that what I'm saying is it's bigger than me. So what I feel like is that I'll be taken care of regardless. I don't have to stress. I'm too blessed to be stressed, so I don't even think about it. But I'm still very grateful in these uncertain times when, work isn't as abundant as it normally is with RSBN. There's just not a lot going on. Well, there is, but we have to figure that out. But, I'm able to do what I'm doing and still cover my bills. So I thank you so much for that donation. Very generous donation. Thank you. And God bless. DM says because they don't want you to give up, or they don't want to give up their sins, and we want all sinners on their side. Yeah, they want all sinners on their side. The Pope said that there is no soul. No soul. So what? What does that mean? That means do what thou wilt. Is that what that means, Mr. Pope? I wonder what that means. Your soul just disappears, huh? Doesn't go anywhere. I'm just saying. I just get Antichrist vibes from the Pope. Not that he is the Antichrist. I'm just saying he is a religious figure revered around the world. And he has some of the most non-biblical, ungodly stances. And he just seems to be in lockstep, like Operation Lockstep, alignment with global elites, with people that want to dissolve borders. And just saying, he's not a very good Pope. He must have hit Hunter's pipe. That's what that means. Satan knows his time is short. yeah, guys, all throughout this year, you've seen the symbolism. You've seen the 666, the Eco Health Alliance donating $666,000 to the Wuhan Institute of Virology. The HR bill 6666. You see the symbolism. You see the Satanism on the newscast. They go to satanic rituals. You see the Baphomet symbolism. You see them saying, show me your papers. You will not be able to buy or sell. See Little Nas X and the Hollywood's always promoting that Satanism, but they're doing it more. You see it more. You see it celebrated. You see the Satanic Temple on the same fight as pro-choice activists. Let that sink in. So that's where things are right now. I feel like it's very, very much spiritual. You got people of all walks of life seriously coming together. I love to see it. Look at some of the videos on regarding the protests in New York City. You see so many people coming together under a real cause, and it's not just here in the United States. It's around the world. It's globally. You see world leaders actually kind of pushing back. Obviously, Jair Bolsonaro in Brazil refuses to enforce vaccine mandates. You've got Sweden and Denmark and Norway. They've scrapped it. They're moved back to normal. Japan never really locked down. I don't know if they have a mandate or not. I don't think that they do. I think they just kind of have like an obedient population. No disrespect. I'm just saying, I think that that's what it is. So they don't have to issue mandates. They have more of a docile population. I'm just guessing that, but here we have a rebellious spirit in this country, a rebellious spirit that stands for freedom, and people who understand that very universal language of freedom are taking a stand. So it's good to see corporations, rappers, Kyrie Irving, whoever, pushing back, standing up for human freedom. As Satan just roams the world, just looking to devour. That's it. That's it. Just capture souls. That's it. Through degeneracy, propaganda, lies, violence, hatred, division. Don't be consumed by darkness, because it's everywhere right now. But it's always darkest before the dawn, isn't it? So I think that's it. I mean, I don't have much else to cover here. I've said everything I need to say. We're almost at an hour. So it's usually about when I wrap up. Occasionally I'll go longer than that, but yeah. Thank you, Sean, for saying, please spread the word about this channel, help it grow. There's only so much I can do to help this channel grow. I try to tweet out the link, and I believe Twitter shadow banned it, because usually I get at least 2 to 3 retweets right when I post it, like within minutes. And I had it sitting up for like 25 to 30 minutes, and I looked to see, I was going to go retweet it myself, and it had no engagement. So I have no doubt that, yeah, the algorithms pick up the things that I say and suppress the stream. But I'll overcome it. Like I said, I'm not worried about it. Let go and let God. That's my motto. All right. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Again, if you will, please give this stream a thumbs up. It's so important. Help me circumvent the algorithms. Let's keep this movement going. Let's fight this good fight. I'm not concerned. God wins in the end. These devils, these demons, these people doing the wicked work of Satan, they will not prevail. God bless you guys. Thanks for tuning in. I'll catch you in the next stream.